basically...
What the hell is that?
I'm sorry. Well...
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show. Ridiculous.
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show.
There's no side to that. There's no excuse for that.
Yep.
I just, I don't care.
Speaking of senseless killings, I'm going to segue again.
Yeah. Don't get me started on this crap.
But speaking of senseless killings, another segue to our next subject is what happened in California.
What happened in California? Let's agree to not use the guy's name because I don't want
No, he doesn't deserve the publicity. No. I mean, and this guy, man, it's senseless, man. Dude, join a dating site or something. Quit your whining and go find an ugly girl. I mean, what the really?
Well, the thing about it is this guy. Let's just call him Psycho Virgin.
Absolutely.
He was brought up in a culture that that thinks that everybody there are no losers, everybody's a winner, everybody gets a trophy. He was brought up in that type of atmosphere, and that's what happens when you believe that everybody that everybody's equal, everybody's a winner, everybody deserves a trophy, points don't matter, it's all about having fun. And that's what you get. You get these idiots that think that you can do whatever the hell you want to, and you're entitled to to get laid by that hot chick. Well, you know what? I've never had sex with a college cheerleader. Have you?
Not that I know.
And we did okay. We did okay.
No, I mean, look, it's not so much, Look, I mean, it is what it is, and it's going to happen sooner or later, buddy. Give it some time.
Right. So this guy flies off the deep end because of the fact that he can't get laid by college cheerleaders, or sorority girls or whatever. So what? I mean, personally.
But you have to admit there has to be some deeper-seated issues in this. This guy wasn't mentally right.
Well, that's
a lot of us guys don't get laid, and a lot of us guys are pissed off about not getting laid by college cheerleaders and sorority girls. We just don't fly off the deep end and go kill 7 people.
Well, you know what? When I was in my preteens, like 10, 11, 12, and starting to be interested in the physical aspect of girls and stuff like that, my mom, I can remember my mom telling me that that somewhere that the girls would at some point the girls would be all over me, or be that's not the word she used, but you know what I mean. But I didn't take that as a literal term, as saying, just because my mommy told me that it was true, that there's something wrong with the system here. Why can't I get the hot cheerleaders? I mean, I tell you what, Becca Tober. Do you remember her back in high school?
I do. Absolutely.
I was in love with that girl for so long. I was all about her, and and I'd talked to her. I'd even been over to her house, hanging out a few times and everything. I was in the friend zone. And I finally worked up enough nerve to ask her out. And she actually said that she would go out with me. I was like, oh, yeah. I called up all my buddies. I got a date with Becca. And I can remember our friend Mike Dirks. He's like, man, congratulations. I'm happy for you, man. You've been all about her since, like, junior high school. And this was after we graduated and whatnot. And she stood me up. But did I go on a shooting? I was devastated. But did I go on a shooting spree? No, I didn't.
You see, I got to make out with a hot cheerleader from high school, and that I will never forget. So, I mean... But
the point that I was trying to make...
And I'm not going to drop any names, but... I know. I mean...
The point that I was trying to make with that is not so much that that we're... the hot cheerleader, said, stood me up or whatever, and I was devastated. That wasn't the point. You know what I've discovered?
The point is, what?
You know what I've discovered? Nerdy chicks are so much hotter than cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah, man. Dude, you get the chick with the glasses on that looks like the naughty librarian. What are you talking about? And the nerdy ones, you know what?
They're free.
They're so crazy. Exactly. I'm like, okay. Because they're looking for attention as much as you are. It's like, wait a minute here. You want me to do what?
Talk about the double standard here. Like, nerdy chicks are hot as hell, but the nerdy guys. Do you think the nerdy guys get the nerdy chicks? Nerdy guys don't get nerdy chicks.
Well, it's funny about talking about nerds. My wife and I were joking around the other day, and I have a son who's a bit of a nerd, which I'm very proud of him. He's very, very intelligent. He's not really a nerd. He's good in athletics, but he's very smart as well. And she said something joking around with him because he said something that is way above his age. You know what I mean? And it just popped out. And she's like, you're such a nerd. And I'm like, yeah, well, Bill Gates is a nerd, too, and that's the richest man in the freaking world. And she's like, hey, how do you think Bill Gates is a nerd? I said, have you ever seen the guy?
Yeah, right.
The guy is so smart. He invented, the whole idea of the computer, internet, and Windows. I mean, come on now. And she's like, well, okay. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, Kavan, which Kavan has the same name as our guest tonight. His middle name is Xander. And I'm like, Kavan, you know what? You keep being a nerd. I said, you make all that money and you can take care of Daddy when you're old, when I'm old.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that because Xander, you know what his day job is? He runs an IT service.
What? That's awesome, man. He's making money.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about right there. But
speaking of Xander, let's go ahead and take a break now. We went a little bit over, but in honor of the summer, summer's here. Our guest Xander Demos happens to have a version of a popular Don Henley song, "Boys of Summer." And there's been a couple other versions of that song thrown around, but this is his. And we'll be right back on the Will and Thunder Show, and this is Boys of Summer by Xander Demos. welcome back to the Will and Thunder Show. That's our guest, Xander Demos, will be on in just under 20 minutes with us. Out of the versions of Boys of Summer that I've heard, I got to say that that's the best cover version that I've heard.
My opinion, that's almost better than the original right there. Man,
well,
I mean, look, to take an iconic song like that and to add so much to it and throw some depth in there and a screaming guitar solo, and man, that was awesome, man. I'm wowed, really, because I had not heard that yet. As I said, there's so much on YouTube from this guy. The guitar playing's phenomenal. The arrangement there, that was unbelievable. I'm really setting aside right here, right now, because I'm singing along with the song right there, but it's almost like hearing it for the first time. That version right there.
Yeah, and I heard it earlier in the week when I was doing show prep and whatnot. But it just makes me want to not play guitar anymore. It's like okay, I'm just
I've had those. I've had those moments. I saw a Christian band back in the day, and their bass player was so ridiculously good. The name of the band was Deliverance.
He was what?
The name of the band was Deliverance. Ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Sorry.
So if anybody ever wants to hack my Facebook or whatever, you probably know what my keyword is. I'm just kidding. I just say it all the time. But no, seriously, the bass player for Deliverance was awesome, man. And at that point, I was like, look, no matter how hard I practice, no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be able to play like this guy. And he was up there doing stuff on his bass. And I'm just like, really? That's possible? And he did it with an expression on his face like he was bored. And I'm like, at least make it look like you're trying, please.
Well, you got close.
Look, I'm a good bass player. I'm a pretty good bass player. But there's people out there. That just make you look and you're like, really? And he is. This guy, Xander, is a guitar virtuoso, man. When it comes to that style of music, look, as I said, take the Boys of Summer and actually. That rocked, man. It always had that groove and that rock to it, but not like that, man. Well,
we'll have him on in just about 15 minutes or so. But staying with rock and everything. Guess who's back?
From what I understand, we have a new album coming out from one of the gods of rock and roll.
That's right. Queen, Brian May of Queen, has announced today that they're going to be releasing an album soon. Didn't give a date, of course not. They're just going to tease it for probably 6 months to have it come out as a Christmas release. That'd be my luck. Freddie Mercury is one of my favorite singers of all time. He's in my top 10 list as far as best singers, as far as I'm concerned.
Phenomenal pipes on that guy, and just the way his presence. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But Brian May is going to be releasing a Queen album of a bunch of unreleased Freddie Mercury songs that the band recorded prior to his passing, and prior to recording the last album with "Show Must Go On" it. But they had so much more material recorded for future use, and Brian May is going to release it sometime this year, and I'm gonna be all over that one.
You know what? I'm not a big hip hop person. I don't listen to a lot of hip-hop, but the one thing hip-hop has given us is, especially with, the Tupac thing where he had all those recordings that he never released, and all the people who loved him so much in the recording business who keep putting music out of his, and you see it now with Michael Jackson. It's really a big kick right there, because what it's doing is it's giving an avenue for a lot of these bands who have, because all these bands have been in the studio, and, they write 20, 30 songs, and only, 8, 10, 12 get on an album.
Right.
So you have all this lost music, and it's great to see it coming alive now, because as big fans as we are of these types of music, when you think it's over with, there's nothing left, and you get something new from them. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing, to have that. Look, man, this person passed away. Not only does he have his legacy that he had already put forth, he's still got more, which is awesome, man. And speaking of the whole situation,
what I'm amazed with is the fact that they were able to get that, to keep that under wraps for so long. The tracks, the tapes, and everything. I would assume they're probably sitting locked away in a safe in Brian May's house somewhere. So
I'm
maybe
sure.
it's not that big of a deal. But but I'm just glad that he did it. I mean, Queen's getting a little bit of resurgence, and actually younger people are getting into him because now they've got Adam Lambert singing for him. Although Adam Lambert can hit all the Freddie notes, but it ain't Freddie, and it doesn't sound.
No, I understand that. Well, you know what, but you got to give him his due too for doing what he does. And also for him standing up for the same thing that Freddie stood for, with Freddie coming out and everything. And Adam, as you know, he's a standout when it comes to being gay and everything.
I could care less.
I understand that, but you know what?
I've been a Priest fan for years, and just
right.
because somebody likes guys or whatever, that doesn't make any difference to me. I mean,
I know that doesn't make a difference, but I mean, I'm giving Lambert his due, and Lambert's a great vocalist.
He is a great vocalist, but you know how you rag me about my early days of guitar playing, how I was the reverb king? Well,
yes.
Adam Lambert, I watched a concert of Queen on YouTube, and Adam Lambert was the singer, and he's the vibrato king. I mean, it's just, man. You know how
I got what you're saying. I got you. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, when they had Paul Rodgers from Bad Company singing with Queen, I thought that sounded better. And Paul Rodgers sounds absolutely nothing like Freddie Mercury. Can't even come close to hitting the notes. I thought that sounded better than Adam Lambert singing it.
Well, speaking, as I was saying, now we were talking about, I said, with Tupac and Michael Jackson. Have you seen the video on YouTube of this whole Michael Jackson hologram thing?
No, I saw.
They did on the Billboard Music Awards.
I saw a headline. I saw a headline, but I didn't look at it.
My wife actually watched it on TV. Was telling me about it. It's like it was freaky. It was so weird because it was almost like he was there. Well, I looked it up on YouTube. Look, man, it's almost like he's there. I mean, it's that close. And the whole thing with this happening, imagine you be able to do this for, like, your family. They have the technology now, if you have the money, to where you could sit there and record whatever you wanted to record, and when your family wanted to see you, all you do is push a button, and there you is. What's up, Grandpa? How you guys doing today? Everything going good still? All right, I'm just checking on you guys. I love you and I miss you.
You know what that means? The cost of a ticket to a Broadway show is going to drop.
Okay, I didn't catch that one, but okay.
They don't have to pay the performers anymore.
Oh, I know. It's just crazy, though. I mean, but I mean, it's just the ramifications are. I mean, it's huge, man. I mean, if they can do this on a giant stage, imagine what's coming next for television. You're not even gonna have a box there anymore. It'll just be holograms of people doing whatever they're doing.
So it's like when you watch a football game. It's going to be like like you're sitting on the sideline, or you're in the huddle with the team. I don't know if I'd want that though. It's just it's.
I don't know.
Unless they can make it like like you're at the game, then I don't think I would really want to see that. Another
little note on the music thing, and I told you last week about that guy in American Idol, the rock singer.
Mm-hmm.
He actually played this week, and he actually won American Idol. But I watched the finale of it. He got to play live with Kiss, one of your all-time favorite bands.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it was awesome. And look, this kid, he's like 17 years old, and he's singing White Snake and Kiss. And, I mean, he is a rock star. And I can't wait for his album to come out.
It's about time they put out somebody that can actually do rock music instead of all this bubblegum pop crap. I mean,
well, they did it once before too, and he wasn't heavy metal. Don't get me wrong, but he was rock. I guarantee you. His name's David Cook, and he's more David Cook and what's the other guy that got really big? He didn't even win American Idol.
You're talking about Chris Daughtry?
Daughtry. I mean, I know that's not the type of metal you like or the rock you like, but I mean, they've had some rock-style singers on there.
Well,
David Cook, man, look him up.
I just have a problem with American Idol in general. And I haven't watched
I know that you do. I know.
Yeah,
and I understand. I mean, you think that it's just a gravy train for them to get signed and everything, but what you don't see.
You do realize that that for like when we had those guests on our show a while back, and they were telling us how it worked and everything. You remember that? Basically, if you were on American Idol, they own you for like, what was it, like 5 years? You don't make a dime.
Well, I mean, for the first 3 years, you're on tour, and then after that, whatever you. I mean, I don't know exactly. You know, we had them on the show, but I mean, but you understand what I'm saying, though. I mean, it is a stepping stone, and a lot of these people who are on those shows have been out in the trenches. They've been out doing this for a long time. So
I wouldn't say a lot of them.
But anyway.
I would say a small percentage of them. Oh, and by the way, a good friend of ours' daughter is going to be auditioning for The Voice.
Really?
Yeah, Brian.
That's one
Lewis.
of the shows I really like because Brian Lewis's daughter's going to be trying out for The Voice next season.
Yep.
Wow. And that's one show that I do like because it's got the 4 judges on there are really cool, and, you know, they're just the way they do things, and they really work with these performers. I mean,
right.
They'll have not just the judges, but the judges will pick their team.
Well, I know how it works. My wife likes that show, and I've watched it a few times, and I feel the same way about it that I do American Idol. However, it is more interesting to watch that, and I told Brielle on Facebook that if she got onto the show, I would watch that particular episode and I'd vote for her. So
absolutely. But
we may
back
even
to
have
music.
We may even have to have her on the show before, like the week before that particular show airs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah, we're going to do that.
Absolutely. Other thing on the music side, you were telling me earlier today that you saw an icon who has not performed in forever actually hopped up on stage and did a little bit of his thing this week sometime.
Yeah, there's a band. Apparently they're pretty big. They're pretty popular. They're called the Eels, and they were playing a show in St. Paul, Minnesota, like last weekend or something. And all of a sudden they brought out Steve Perry of Journey. And he got up. He sang one of the band's songs with them, and then after they did that, they did Open Arms and Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', and you know he did all right for not.
So he hasn't stopped believing.
I don't think he stopped believing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten up there to do it.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, now, do you think he's trying to make a comeback? Do you think that he's trying to get back to where he was, or is he just, look, it's been a while and I'm missing this kind of rush I've had, so let me go hook up with this band. And what connection does he have to this band?
I have no idea what connection they had with the band. I mean, I'd never heard of the band before. But I'm guessing maybe, I don't know, maybe he just liked them. Maybe it was something as simple as Steve Perry happened to like one of their songs on Facebook, and or on YouTube, and they just started talking or something like that. Who knows? I mean, Journey has their singer now because of YouTube, so it's not out of the realm of possibility there.
Which that guy is phenomenal.
Mhm.
At doing Journey.
I don't think that.
All
I think
4'8" of them.
I think that Journey is at some point going to do a reunion with Steve Perry, but I don't think there's any what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think that they're pulling their hair out to try and make it happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's going to happen at some point, but no.
I've seen Journey, I don't know, 4 or 5 times now with this new singer, on TV. I don't know if he's lip singing or what, but he is dead on.
Oh, he's
with
not
everything he sings.
I
know, I'm joking.
Okay.
That guy is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
How are you doing your own drop?
I did it for you. I did that so you didn't have to push the button.
Thank
I
you.
was worried about your carpal tunnel syndrome. Thank you. You said that so sweet. I mean, what the hell was that all about? Right? Thank you. Oh, my goodness. That's horrible radio right there.
I think I may have to make a drop out of that. Thank you.
Wow. All right there, princess.
Hey, now. Just because I didn't have to push the button the last time doesn't mean I don't know how anymore.
That's right. Anyway.
But I've never seen Journey in concert, and I mean there have been other singers other than Arnel Pineda and Steve Perry. Like Jeff Scott Soto was their singer for a while. I think there was one other singer that they had too. But I mean, I would say that Arnel Pineda is definitely the best one that they've had, and yeah, and you're going to see a lot more of that, with the success of Arnel Pineda, Ripper Owens, Todd LaTorre, all these people who have stepped in for the legend and just
right.
blew the lid off.
Ripper Owens, Ripper Owens. He's the one that he's done so many different bands right there. He did.
He replaced Rob Halford in Priest.
Well, I know that, but he's done that for a couple other bands. I saw him on that metal show, and he's been in. I don't know, 6 or 7 different bands. And
he was with Iced Earth.
He
was with Iced Earth. He was with Dio's Disciples, Dio's Disciples was several of Dio's bands and different singers. He did that for a while. He played with Yngwie for a while. He went on the TNN album with George Lynch, Jeff Pilson, and Mick Brown, and he did Kiss of Death by Dokken on that album.
My wife grew up with a guy who pretty big singer, a band called Fuel, and he actually for a while did Riders of the Storm. He was singing for the Doors.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that, and also they had the singer from Cult, and they had him. They're kind of doing what Queen's doing, just bringing on different singers.
Right. Yeah, Brett Scallions. He was with them for quite a while, a year and a half or so, going around and singing the Doors. And Brett right there, I mean, he grew up in the town that I'm living in now, which is a small town, USA, tiny little place. But his wife has a band. Now, this is the best female band name I've ever heard in my life. You ready for it?
Okay. Yeah.
It's called Slunt. SLUNT. Now, if you ever want to do what?
Do they have a Twitter?
I'm sure they do.
Twitter.
Because that is one of the greatest. I mean, you've got Kitty, which is, that's cute, and then you had Vixen back in the day. No, this is what you want to say to a woman that you really hate. You're like, you were such a slunt. It's the greatest word ever.
That's not it. Oh my God, kill it with fire.
What?
Oh, I just typed in slunt on Twitter, and let's just say that it wasn't her.
It wasn't a band.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, fine. Wow. All right, so if you guys are trying to find a band, don't go on Twitter. Don't go on Twitter.
What's
Put
her name?
Slunt in the band. Abby Scallions. I mean, I think that's his last name, so I figured that'd be her last name.
I don't know. We'll have to do
some more research before we get.
Yeah.
We'll do more research before we get people out there. The one 15-year-old listener we have right now will be there. Oh, let's check out Slunt. They're a great band. And their mom's going to walk in and be like, what are you looking at? I'm like, I'm looking for a band. Yeah, okay. You're grounded. You'll never be able to hear our show again. It's beautiful.
Damn it.
Well, I really didn't mean that to happen. But anyway, it's right on that 10 o'clock mark right there, and we have another song coming up from Xander Demos before we get him on the air and we can talk with him a little bit about some music. So
yeah, hold on.
The next song we're going to play.
Nope, not yet.
We're going to hold off for a minute?
We're going to hold off for a minute.
Okay. That's fine. I was just trying to segue into that. I was trying to get out of the slut situation.
He's not here yet.
I understand. Well, okay, fine. I don't have the computer screen in front of me right now, so
I'm sorry. He just called in. He just called in. Okay.
Okay. You see, I knew that. I had a premonition. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
And you're irreplaceable, as we found out a couple weeks ago. Anyway,
no, I'm not, because obviously, I am not replaceable.
That's what I said. You're irreplaceable.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds better then. I misunderstood you. But anyway, no, we're going to play a song from Xander Demos right here. That's not the song. That's not a song. I'm sure we could play that, though. But
the song is called Dancing Through Daggers, and we'll be right back on the Will and Thunder Show with Xander Demos.
Take apart my
welcome back to the Will and Thunder Show. That was Dancing Through Daggers from the upcoming album by Xander Demos called Guitarcadia. Did I get that right, Xander? How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Actually, it's that's not on Guitarcadia. Guitarcadia is already out, but the new XTB album is self-titled Dancing Through Daggers, so it'll be on that album.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an awesome song.
Thank you.
I was listening to the album and everything. I picked the two songs that I wanted to play off of it, but I had to send a message back to your manager there. I was like, can you send me Dancing Through Daggers, because I want to play that one too.
That's cool.
So, well, welcome into the show, man. Xander, guitar virtuoso, man. You're unbelievable, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that compliment.
So tell us a little bit about what you've done. I mean, I don't want to sit here and read your bio, because I mean anybody can do that. But I mean you've recorded and performed with some pretty big name acts, as well as won a pretty big title at the NAMM festival, right?
Yeah. I mean I've been on my way doing some pretty cool stuff. There's always room to improve. I'm trying to do as much as I can as far as getting out there and playing, and really being, just in the scene a lot more, like in the national scene as well. So things have been going pretty good. I'm not complaining. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm just not getting far enough in my music career," or whatever. And I'm pretty happy at the pace things are going. So I feel very blessed.
So you're out of Los Angeles, California right now, right?
What's that?
You're out of Los Angeles right now, correct?
No, actually, I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I thought you were in L.A.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm a dumbass. That's my fault.
But anyway, actually, you know what? We've been doing this show for about 9 months now, and majority of the people we've been talking to, that the music scene is in Pennsylvania right now. It really is. I mean,
Pennsylvania and Florida. That's where we've had more guests from Pennsylvania and Florida than anywhere else. It's weird how that works.
That's pretty cool. I mean, Pennsylvania overall, it does have. As a state, it has a pretty big scene. But I mean, for the most part, it's like where I live in Pittsburgh. Our music scene is vibrant, but it could be a little bit better. I mean, we don't. Like my band XTB, we don't really get out there and play as much, because not people don't really want to see original music as much. We find that they're hungrier for it in other parts of the country. But it's not too bad. I mean, it just really depends on the type of music you're playing. I mean, we are playing prog rock and prog metal, and that's definitely its own. It's definitely its own, niche market, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I understand the whole, doing originals, and when you're playing out, especially trying to get your stuff out there. But the first song we played tonight was you doing a cover of The Boys of Summer. And let me tell you what, man, it was like hearing, I told Will earlier, it was like hearing the song for the first time, knowing all the lyrics to it right there. The guitar work that was on there, totally, I mean, the songs there, you felt it, you knew what you were listening to, but it was totally like listening to the first time. It was awesome, man. The guitar work you put in there totally changed the dynamics and the power of that song right there. It was awesome.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. I mean, that's actually what we were, what I was kind of going for with that. The guys that actually recorded that, we were all in a cover band together that played around Pittsburgh, and that band did pretty well around here, just because there is a lot in Pittsburgh that they like the cover music scene. A little bit more than the original scene. But that one, the reason we did that song that way was because we, back in 1995, the early 90s, I mean, I'd say for about 2 years, I stopped playing guitar because I flat out hated the grunge music scene. And, I mean, to this day, I still don't have really any respect for it. I tried to get on board with it. I mean, I did grow to like some of the bands as I got older, but, I mean, for the most part, I thought the disrespect that a lot of the people and the musicians in that scene showed was really obnoxious and uncalled for. Although the one thing I will always give grunge credit for was that a lot of the bands themselves internally, they kind of had each other's backs until they got popular. It was kind of strange. And I mean, because I researched, I was like, well, are these guys really better than the hair metalers? Are they, all this kind of stuff, And I think that was a bunch of crap. I just think that they really did get a. There was a little bit, I think, like I said, I think there was a lot of disrespect on the side of a lot of the people that listen to grunge, because it's like they were waiting for hair metal to die or something like that, so they can be all angry and pissed off and everything. So, I just didn't play for a while, and then in 1995, I heard this. I bought this cover album it was a Rush tribute album called Working Man, and it had it featured a song called The Analog Kid, which is from the Signals album in 1982. And this was a blistering cover, Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater and Michael Romeo from Symphony X and Billy Sheehan on bass. I mean, it was just like this really sick cover. So that Boys Summer version is sort of like a tribute to that song, to that version. It's kind of sort of like an over-the-top, a lot of guitar, a lot of shredding on it, but still maintains the song.
Right.
And I really love that. I mean, there's a band out there. It's a 4-piece. They're actually a quartet. And I can't think of the band's name right now to save my life, but they do a lot of covers of like heavier 90s, 2000 bands like Disturbed and Metallica, and I love hearing that, when you can take something that powerful and you put it to strings like that, or like what you're doing with taking a song that everybody knows and you making it more powerful and giving it your own little twist to it. That's the kind of covers I like to hear. If I go out and see a cover band and it's just a bunch of 60-year-olds that are playing Jimmy Buffett and play it to the T, and the singer kind of pulls it off a little bit, okay, that's cool, everybody's having a good time. But when you have a band that comes in and plays covers and they light it up like that, like you guys did with Boys of Summer, look, that'd be it right there.
Right. Well, I mean, thank you, because a lot is there. That's a very hardcore division for a lot of people. Because a lot of people are saying, you know what, I want to be entertained by, band X, but I want them to retain the integrity of the songs and stuff. And then you'll
right.
always hear people are like, no, man, let's, music's about creativity. It's art. Go out there and, F some stuff up, man. Have some fun,
Well, I mean, if you want to hear Don Henley's Boys of Summer, go to a bar that has a jukebox.
Or
yeah,
on the radio.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. I mean, if you want to hear the original, go listen to the original. If you want to be entertained, if you want to see some creativity, then watch us.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, even if you go see a band, like if you go see Don Henley play, and they play Boys of Summer, a lot of these bands will add a little something more to the song to do it live to give you a little extra kick, give it an extra 30 seconds on a guitar solo or throw a drum solo in the middle of it. That's what you're doing when you're going to see live music. You want to see people playing music. You want to see the creativity. You want to see where it comes from. And with you guys, light it up. That's what it's all about right there.
Yeah.
Well, on the new album, there's several songs that are just epic, like 7, 8, 9 minute long songs that are just sensory overload, shredding guitar. So tell us a little bit about which one of those is your favorite off of the new album. Now I'm going to put the links up on the Facebook page, and when I put this on YouTube and everything, so everybody who finds it will be able to easily access your album.
You're saying what songs do I like that? Is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Metropolis Part 1 from Dream Theater is definitely up there. That's a long tune, I'm a big fan of Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 from Halloween.
Nice.
What else am I a huge fan of? There's so many cool Symphony X songs, but I'm hard-pressed to find one that really, it's like kind of like a long epic tune.
One thing I can tell One thing I can tell by your guitar playing style is that you are a Dream Theater fan, and you brought them up twice now with their drummer. It's ridiculous in my opinion. The offbeats he plays and everything, unbelievable. And Metropolis Part 1 is one of my favorite songs of all times right there. Just the differences, and where you got these phenomenal musicians, and you have each piece right there, which is designated to show the ability of each musician right there. I can listen to that 100 times in a row without stopping, and I'll hear something new each time. And it's just, it's like watching an epic movie listening to that song right there.
No,
that band.
That song is pretty much one of my all-time favorite tunes, and it really does showcase them, in a manner. You have Yetzi Jam and Erotomania, a lot of classic band instrumentals that they did in the first few albums, and they were really cool and stuff. But I think they've just really shined on, super melodic tunes like that. And their new album is unbelievable. I love the new album. I mean, I think it's their best work, in years. I was so thrilled to, listen to it. I rarely skip a song on it too when I do listen to it. But I mean, those types of songs. I mean, to me, those are timeless. You know what else is like a timeless song to me? I mean, because Dream Theater is probably my second favorite band, and Journey is my favorite band. And so despite Halloween and Whitesnake and Racer X and Dream Theater, as much as I love the metal bands, Journey still kind of reigns supreme at the top. And one of the tunes I love from them is just Escape, the original Escape song. It's just it's longer. It wasn't a hit, but it was just one of those tunes that is just so it just has such unbelievable melody, and it is kind of a challenge to play. I mean, you can't be some crappy cover band that can play Don't Believe It and expect to be able to pull that song off.
Right. Well,
we were talking about Journey a little bit ago. We were talking. Steve Perry actually popped up on stage last week with a band in St. Paul, Minnesota. Band called The Heels, and did one of their songs. Yeah, and we were talking. That was part of our earlier segment. We were talking about that. But yeah, I mean, Journey is one of those bands right there. I mean, you could take Journey, you could take the Styx and bands like that, super melodic bands back then, and they were technical too. I mean, very Queen. I mean, all those bands right there. Pink Floyd. I mean, just think all the technicalities that Pink Floyd went through. Creating that sound back then without the computer we have today and doing what they did. It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of creativity, and a lot of people can joke around and say, the drugs had a lot to do with it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, whether that's true or not, I mean, that remains, that's up for debate or whatever. But, a lot of that music, I mean, it really was, it was a time of innovation, and I think that, when the 80s came along, I think the way I look at it is the 70s was a time of innovation, and the 80s was a time of taking the innovation from the previous decade and and adding more of a technical and polished onto it, and then of course in the 90s my attitude is that they just flush it all down the toilet, and they said, screw it, let's just do 2 chords, that's all we need. I'm like, really? Wow.
But
the one guitar riff that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thunder there, as you talk about this and everything, Thunder there is probably sitting there thinking that I'm doing, we really don't have a guest, and I'm just pretending to be you, because everything that you're saying about
you guys are very exactly.
I hate
you guys are definitely cut from the same cloth.
I know that I have a terrible attitude about it. I mean, it's one of those things I just can't keep my mouth shut about. I know people are like, dude, if you go out, you do interviews, and you're talking to people, you've got to become a public figure. You gotta be politically correct. I'm like, really? I mean, I have to. No. I have to kiss their ass in the grunge world? I don't think so.
Hey, listen here, Xander. Guess what, brother? You're a rock star. You don't have to tell them anything. And then, by the way, this is an internet radio show, so we don't have FCC, so you can say fuck you. Here's the deal, right here. You know what? Look, I'm not a big grunge fan. There's a couple bands I like from the grunge era. I loved Alice in Chains because they still had harmonies and guitar solos.
Well, Alice in Chains was a metal band. Alice in Chains was a metal band.
I understand, but they were considered a grunge band because of the time that they, came in there. There's a few in there that were okay, and I have some different tastes in music that I like too. But the point of the matter is, the style of music that we listen to, you play, that shredding guitar. I remember being a kid, and you didn't only sing the verse and the chorus, you sang the guitar solo.
Yeah. Yep.
When it came up, you were humming it, or you're like, that's what's missing in music nowadays.
Right.
And you know what? I don't care how much eyeliner you wear and how big your hair is anymore. You're not Poison. Yeah. You'll never be as good as the hair metal bands we used to have. Now you're emo rock and you're crying about, cutting yourself. Shut up. Take your guitar pick and hit your strings instead of your wrist and shut up. Play some music.
I agree. I mean, I think, something like the bands that come out, who actually got screwed the hardest, but I mean, I still was able to make some success out of it, was the metal bands that came out from 1989 to about 1991. That was some of my favorites. I mean, like the Slip of the Tongue album from Whitesnake, anything from Firehouse. Right. A lot of those bands, they evolved because
Slaughter and all that.
Well, yeah, And I did this one interview one time. It was like an hour and a half long. We sat there and we just like really dug into the, into the music, really hardcore about, like how the '80s evolved. And it was the way the way it was kind of broken down was, the early '80s was sort of the time of the new wave of British heavy metal and like the split of Black Sabbath, and of course the solo careers of Dio and Ozzy. So a lot of that music, Priest, Maiden, Saxon, Ozzy, Dio, like all of those bands, they were all very like sort of intertwined in a way, in some way kind of incestuous with the backgrounds of them. And then you got into the mid '80s and you started to see the glam thing a little bit more. Cinderella Boys and Motley Crue. They still had a heaviness to them, but you started to see like they were kind of. I mean, then nowadays you kind of look at it. It's it's great for nostalgia. It's kind of cheesy and stuff. But then '87 through like the late '80s, you started to see like the more technical players start. Like the post Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen guitar players started becoming popular.
Right.
Like Paul Gilbert, Jason Becker, all the guys that were on Shrapnel Records. And then right around that time, I think everything had gotten refined. Like big harmonies, really great guitar tones, great guitar technologies. Not just, everyone's like, oh, dude, I gotta get this 1972 Fender Strat. I played one of them. I think they suck. I mean, I think those guitars are a joke. The guitars that the guitar from the companies that I endorse.
Yeah. Or you got guitar players that
monumental guitars. They're awesome. But back then, it's just all about that classic vibe, dude. No, get the fuck out of here. At that time, I played with a guitar player. And everybody's talking about, how equipment was so big right there in the mid '80s, right there, early '90s. Yeah.
I had a guitar player play with it. He'd come in one day, he's like, I've got this Elisa's Quadriverb GT, whatever. It's got 137 presets, and I can preset another 97.
Oh yeah,
who was that guitar player?
Absolutely. I mean, like the 88 MP1 and all these really cool music came out in the 80s and 90s, and now we have this little tool called the Axe Effects, which is just it's awesome. I have two of them. I love them so much, and they're great. I mean, it's everything about them is are phenomenal. And but it's just really cool that I think that kind of stuff has evolved, and everything is cyclical. I mean, we've kind of got back to that place where people are like respecting guitar players that can play solos again.
Right.
And the internet, of course, and and social media like YouTube and all that stuff has sometimes created stars of some of these guitar players who they may not do well in the band setting, but they do damn well like playing like instrumentals or playing the backing tracks, and that's enough to entertain people. I mean, hell, that's okay.
Or an acoustic set or something.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time with musicians here on the show. Is that YouTube is a wonderful thing or a horrible thing, because if you're a great musician or you have some musical talent, you can get your stuff out there. But it also there's a lot of mud out there.
Yeah, I mean, there is. There's a lot of fail.
Exactly. You got a kid who just bought a guitar who learned how to play Every Rose Has Its Thorn or Smoke on the Water, and they think that they're a guitar hero, and they put it on YouTube. So you have to search through the garbage. Speaking of YouTube, I looked you up on YouTube the other day, and there is pages and pages of phenomenal music. I mean...
Oh, thanks.
I mean, everything you've done.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
As far as guitar, the guitar brand that I use, I'm pretty much an Ibanez guy. I like a lightweight guitar with a paper thin neck that I can shred on. But But I was reading your bio, and you have a signature model out now.
I do. I actually, this is going to be kind of a cool year. I had the signature guitar built by a guy named David Thomas McNaught. He's from North Carolina. He makes amazing guitars, and we've been friends. We've been, I guess you could say like customer, builder for like a long time. And so he finally reached out one day and he said, "Hey, listen, I've always loved your playing." He's like, you're one of my top 3 favorite players: Randy Rhoads, Paul Gilbert, and you. He's like, I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I mean, you're definitely one of my faves. And he's like, I'd really like to talk to you about building a signature guitar and, doing some marketing with you and all that stuff. So I said, okay, well, let's do it. And sorry about that, guys. Anyway,
go ahead.
So I said, let's do it. I sent him some design ideas. He said, okay, I think I can work with this. He's like, I'm going to cut something out and I'm going to surprise you with it. And he said, what do you want first? Do you want a 6-string or 7-string first? I said, let's do the 7. So he built this over a period of about a year, and I remember, seeing the finished product. Or actually what he did was he showed me the pre-finished product on his forum, and then he sent it to me, and then after I got it, that's what he posted the pictures. And when I got it, my jaw dropped because I was just like, wow, because I'll tell you what, every time I get a guitar, and all of my friends and bandmates could verify this, I bitch about at least one or two things on it. It doesn't matter if it was like a $5,000 guitar or $500 guitar. I might say something like, the volume knob feels weird, or the switch feels in the wrong place or whatever, and that sounds like me. But
right, the whammy's too tight, or this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But when he sent me this guitar, I played it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't complain. This is freaking me out. And I played it for like a month. But just to show you a testament how it was. We went out on a little small tour with Sabbath to Sabbath, and I actually took that guitar with me without even playing it, and I just plugged it in on the first gig, and I was that comfortable with it, right out of the gate. And that's a testament to his playing. So yeah, he built me a signature guitar, which is basically like a design that he and I came up with. But I've always been a fan of Brian Moore guitars, and so Patrick Cummings, the president of Brian Moore, had approached me also about doing what was called an artist model. So it's one of their own models, but just has my features on it. So it basically has the kind of neck woods that I like the glow in the dark side dots, really cool watercolor finish, very pickups that I picked out. The controls are laid out actually the way John Petrucci's are, because that's the same way I lay mine out. So it's he's actually calling it the C90. It's basically like the Xander Demos artist model. So it's actually their guitar, but they put my name on it. And if I sell enough of them, I get a free one, which is kind of cool. And my agreement with Dave,
man.
Yeah, definitely, it's very cool. And my agreement with Dave is really just that of, it's kind of undisclosed. But I'm just trying to help him, sell instruments. And so because somebody asked me well, isn't that kind of weird having two signature guitars? I said, no, it's not two signature guitars. One's a signature guitar from one manufacturer. The other one is with an artist model. It's just they said they're only going to make it for a year, where Dave McNaught is going to make it, as long as there's a demand for it. So
even if it was a signature, two signature models, so what? That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's one of those things right there. You when you're living the rock and roll dream out there, you think about the endorsements that you can get at one time. I remember looking back in the day. You're looking through Metal Magazine and you see, the bass player from this band or that band, and they're holding a certain guitar, and you're like, I'm going to get that one right there. Look at that. The apostles of guitars right there, like the Gene Simmons axe right there. Oh, yeah, I want to get that one right there. And to have your name on something like that, I understand the record deal is the biggest pinnacle that, you want to get a record deal, get your records out, get your music out. But if you have your own guitar out there, and a guy's in a music store, and he's like, oh, what's this? Oh, that's Xander Demos, signature guitar right there. Well, he's going to go home and look you up, and he's going to want to be as good as you are. And you're going to take that 13, 14-year-old to new levels right there. And that's what that's what music really is. It's spreading your love for music and getting it out there. And now he's not only a fan of yours, but he's a fan of your guitar, your music, and he's going to tell everybody about it.
Right.
And how big is that? That's unbelievable.
It's a great advantage to be able to reach guitar players like that. I would love to be able. I hope that I do reach people like that, where they just somebody who's never heard of me says, dude, I looked you up on the internet and I actually bought one of your signature guitars. Hey, where have you been for the past 20 years?
Well, I've been playing for the last 20 years, and that's what you're going to do with that guitar you just bought of mine right there. And that's awesome. And that starts the next generation of us rock and rollers right here who, still love the music and the guitar. The guitar thing is what I really love, the solos. The melody right there. When you get to that point in a song, and when the guitar player back in the day, which needs to come back, and you get that solo where it just fills you right there, and that's what's missing. And people like you are keeping that alive. Is what everything means right there to me when it comes to this style of music.
Yeah, and we're trying to. XTB is like this. Is made up of a bunch of guys that are really into that kind of stuff. And our singer. He's so versatile. Everybody in the band is extremely versatile, but we all come from these these really cool backgrounds. Like our bass player, I mean, he was really into death metal, but like he, you know, we made this big joke about him. You know, like when he first started with us about a year ago, you know, he was wearing his bass really low, and I wear my guitar high like the guys in Dream Theater because you can't do a lot of that precision stuff, you know, and you know, have your guitar down by your balls because it just, your arms aren't long enough, your wrist doesn't curl the right way, you know, and except for unless you're just Satriani, of course, and then you know, but you know, then all of a sudden there's like we opened for Primal Fear on Friday, and I looked over at him and his face was like, you know, up midway up through his torso, and I was like, I just kind of gave him that little shitty grin, like nod, kind of like, You're like lifting the bass up a little bit, you know, because he really started getting into like the type of precision stuff that we do. And I mean, and our drummer, I mean, he's like the same type of guy. I mean, he's a Berkeley grad. I mean, why he's not a superstar is beyond me. And you know, and but I mean, hopefully we all get there one day. I mean, I hope that he is like the next Mike Portnoy because he's got the chops. You know,
well, I'm telling you right now, I'm listening to Dancing Through Daggers right there. You guys all have the chops. Don't get me wrong. Your singer has a set of pipes in him that are ridiculous.
Yeah, Mario.
Which is one of my favorite words.
He's also a great man. Like he really like looks good in the part. And our keyboard player Jeff Morris, him and I are in a tribute band together called Bon Journey. It's a Bon Jovi and Journey tribute band.
Nice.
We have a lot of fun with it. And but I mean, he has like a sonic range as far as like vocals go. That's just, you know. It's perfect because he nails all his high harmonies, and that's, you know, that's the one thing that a lot of the prog bands, like especially Dream Theater, they don't have. As much as I love that band, I mean, to me, I think Dream Theater is a flawless band. You know, like there's nothing that you can't say a single thing that like there's a weakness about them. But the one thing that style of music really doesn't promote is those really thick layered harmonies, and that's what we do in my band. You know what I mean? So XTV basically has like this. We have that approach. That's what I mean. Like we're like Journey versus like meets Halloween kind of, you know, with a little tinge of maybe like Rush in there because it's like we do some of the odd time stuff. You know, we have that power metal sound, but most of all, we just have this really big vocal presence. You know, on our vocal tunes. Like there's a lot of harmonies, and when we do them, they hit you pretty, you know, in a way that's like, whoa, wait a second, I wasn't expecting that because a lot of people see those. You know, it's very stereotyped that the band is going to have just a singer just doing that, but everybody else is so busy that they're not singing or doing anything else. So we're kind of
and it's a really hard thing to find. It's really hard to find other musicians who have that vocal ability. To find a guitar player who's confident enough to play that well and be able to do those harmonies, or a keyboard player that can do both. I mean, as you were talking about Rush, Geddy Lee, that guy is amazing right there. He can play keyboards, bass, and sing at the same time.
Oh,
but
yeah,
to find somebody who can do oh, no, not human at all, you know, and I'm a bass player myself, and to watch him, I have a hard time doing harmonies myself, a hard time doing any kind of vocals, first of all, because my voice is so deep, but on top of that, you know, when you're doing intricate stuff on the bass, and I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing and try and kick the voice in with it, I mean, people don't understand the difficulty or the technicality that it comes to being a musician and trying to do 2-3 things at a time. You know, when it comes like a drummer, if a drummer does harmonies and is playing 3 different parts at one time right there, I mean, it's amazing to me.
Oh, yeah.
How much you're doing, you know.
You know, there's one, you know, there's a lot of guitar players out there that, you see, I play guitar and I sing. I can't do both at the same time very well, but there's, and that's why one of the people that I'm, you know, one of my biggest influences, or I wouldn't really say influence, one of the people that I'm most jealous of is Dave Mustaine, because that guy smokes just about everybody's lead guitar player, and he can get up there and sing, and he makes it look easy.
Well, you know, and Will, give me one second. Will, don't set yourself short right here. Don't sell yourself short, because you are a phenomenal singer and rhythm guitar player. Now, honestly, Will right here is the best rhythm guitar player you'll ever meet. The guy's spot on every time when it comes to guitar.
Very cool.
I mean, when it comes to the bass of the song right there and playing the rhythms and everything. Oh, no, seriously. And singing at the same time. Seriously, he's the best rhythm guitar player I've heard in my life right here, because he will not miss a beat ever. Ever. But, I just don't want him to sell himself short with that. I mean, because you really, really were that good as a singer guitar player.
Comparing me to Dave Mustaine would be like comparing I don't know, an expensive Chardonnay to Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I understand that, but I mean, still, don't sell yourself short, man. I mean, you were a phenomenal guitar player.
Well,
in that role as rhythm guitar player, singer, you were phenomenal. And I'll leave that as it is. But anyway,
how many albums do you have out there, Xander?
Right. Well, I mean, as far as like, I mean, I have one full-length album myself as a solo artist. XDB, as the band, is basically putting out our first album this year, and then I'm releasing my second instrumental album sometime this year as well. But that one may get pushed off to the beginning of 2015. It wouldn't surprise me if it did. Just based on time, because I mean I'm writing, like for example, there was some stuff that didn't make it onto Guitarcadia, and I don't really want to inundate XDB with instrumentals. I mean we only would do those if we like we'll pull an instrumental out if we want to kill some time on the set or something like that. But for the most part, I just have the one album out. I mean I've played on a few other releases, like with some other bands like Modern Superstar, and I was on the Liberty and Justice Cigar Chronicles double CD. I mean, and the thing is I'm willing to, jump onto pretty much any, any recording there is, to do a solo or, to play on or whatever. I mean, I'd love to do that kind of stuff. But just for myself, I just have the one album out.
Oh, okay. Well, when the XDB album comes out, I'd like to, I write reviews. I write for Sleaze Rocks, and I also write for my own my own blog and everything, which is picking up traction as it is. So I'd like to get a copy of that. Now nothing against your against the instrumental stuff, but I don't know how to review an instrumental album because
it's easy.
Well,
it's easy. Listen to the music.
That's fine. I mean, because it's honestly it's a niche market, and the people that haven't reviewed it, that review Guitarcadia, there was 2 songs on there for them to listen to, that had vocals, so they could say, well, okay, not only can, Xander just, kind of wank on the guitar, as an instrumentalist, but, I mean, okay, he is there kind of laying back a little bit and playing guitar on these other 2 songs, one of them being an original, one of them being a cover. And, I mean, it is cool because I do, I mean, XTB is my focus. I mean, my solo stuff is different.
Right. But as I was saying earlier, with having that band that I've listened to, that quartet that does all these cover tunes, and it's all instrumental right there. It's right. The same thing. I mean, you just got to listen to the music and enjoy it. And, I mean, you can hear the feeling. I mean, it's the same thing as listening to With or Without Words right there. I mean, it's not going to be elevator music, I'm sure, with this guy shredding on guitar right here. So, I mean, you just listen to it, and you don't have to go, oh, well, what he said in song so-and-so really touched my heart. Be like, no, look, man, in 3 minutes of song number 4, man, the shredding guitar right here, just, look, I'm going to tell you what, it made me want to jump off a bridge, or it made me want to jump up for joy. I mean, that's the way you got to listen to it. I mean, music doesn't have to have words. I'm just trying to help you out here.
Well, just my review.
But I mean, seriously, I mean,
kind of, and for a review of a instrumental album, I've just never done it before. Once I do it, it's just once you do.
That's
once
right.
You
Well, just give it a listen to, and then I mean, I can help you with the words right there, buddy. I'm a wordsmith. Not really, but anyway.
So what? So the XDB album is coming out when?
We're shooting for the fall. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get out an EP for the summertime, and then in the fall we want to go ahead and just complete the album. The EP is going to be a lot of fun though, because we're going to have like 6 or 7 songs on it, and we are going to put a few covers on there, and all the covers that we're going to do are going to basically showcase like a lot of the abilities and like the versatility in the band. For example, we are going to do I think we're going to cover the song "Scarified" by Racer X.
Wow, I can't wait to hear that.
Well, and the way that
it's one of Will's favorite bands right there.
Nice.
It's awesome.
The way we do it live now is you got to keep in mind that we don't have a second guitar player, and I don't play with a harmonizer. So my keyboard player Jeff, he basically he plays the harmonies with me, and then our old keyboard player Adam Husey, he did the harmonies with me. So he did like the other guitar player in Racer X's parts. You know what I mean? So it's
awesome, man.
Kind of cool with the keyboard and guitar as opposed to just 2 guitars. So we're going to do that, and I think we're going to do a Judas Priest song, and I think we're definitely going to do a Journey tune, and we're going to just kind of like showcase the a little bit of versatility there, and then we're gonna have some originals on there.
Xander, I have a question real quick. Xander, I have a question for you. Are you 40 years old right now? 41 years old? Or close to that?
Older.
Huh? You're older than that?
Yeah.
I was just making sure that you and Will were not separated at birth right here and being twins, because you said Journey, you said Racer's X, and look, I've known this guy since we were 4 years old, and everything that you say when it comes to music is like I've heard it before.
Nice.
I mean,
it's unbelievable right here. Judas Priest, Racer's X, and Journey. That's a three. Look, come on now. That cannot ever happen in this world again right here. I'm in the Twilight Zone right here, and it's just, wow.
I have a very strange, I have probably the strangest top 10 band list that you would ever hear of on your show. And I'm sure
I doubt it, because if you say your top 10 right now, it'll be right along with Will's, I guarantee you. Give me your top 10 best bands.
Yep. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it will be, but I mean, I'm gonna.
Let's see here.
All right, you ready? And this is in no order. This is not in any order, because you already know that I said Journey is my favorite. So, Journey.
Yep, so we got Journey.
All right, Dream Theater.
Yep.
Whitesnake. Racer X. Halloween. The Killers. ABBA. Van Halen. I'm going to basically go and say Boston is one of them also. And and then finally, number 10, which sort of teeters, sometimes, kind of in and out, is Face Warning, another prog band. They sort of they're kind of tied with Rush, as far as I'm concerned. Okay,
now there's two. I do like ABBA, although they're not in any top 10. I like them because I love their vocal harmony ability.
That's what I love about them.
Yeah, the Killers. I've only heard one song of theirs, and to be honest with you, I didn't really care for it all that much. But
okay, that is fair.
But the rest of the bands that you liked, I mean, I like Fates Warning a lot. I was gonna review their current album, but then I don't know what happened. I wasn't able to get the advanced copy of it. But Fates Warning, Journey, I love Journey. Now my other, I have two, non-metal in my top 10 as well. Queen, obviously, and that's both for guitar and vocals, and also I love Meatloaf. I'm a dire Meatloaf fan. I've seen him in concert twice, and he was one of my influences on singing. And I can actually go to a karaoke bar and I can duplicate certain Meatloaf songs at a karaoke bar.
That's incredible. I mean, I've got mad respect for Meatloaf because he really, songwriting-wise, between him and Jim Steinman, as a team, those guys are just freaking amazing. And why they won't realize that when the two of them are together, it's art, but when they're not together, it's not so much. Why they don't understand that and release more, together, that's beyond me. But then again, why the hell did Rob Halford think he would be fine without Judas Priest? Yeah, you know what? In all honesty, I'm going to go down. I would definitely get Raz pretty hardcore for this, but I'm one of the few that really appreciates Ripper Owens and what he did for Priest, because you know what? As much as I love Judas Priest, Rob Halford, he just doesn't have it anymore. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't.
And Ripper still does, and I think it's a shame that
once again.
Shit.
Well, the thing about
really.
I saw
before the show we were talking about Ripper Owens. It's just crazy.
I had one thing that people don't realize is that the Jugulator album was going to be the next Priest album with or without Rob Halford, because if you look at the album credits on Jugulator, about half the songs credit Rob Halford. So that was going to be the next Priest album. And Demolition, a lot of Priest fans hate that album. I love it. It doesn't really sound like anything Priest ever did before, but that is an amazing metal album. I mean, that album just, I heard that. I bought that album when it came out. I was expecting more of Jugulator. I hadn't heard any singles off of it or anything. And about the time that I got to track 5, which is Close to You, which is like one of the top 5 saddest songs ever written. I was like, this is awesome. I never got to see him in concert for Demolition, but I did see him on the Jugulator tour, and yeah, I got mad respect for Ripper Owens.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do too. And remember what I told you on our EP that we're going to do a cover tune? The cover tune that we're going to do, even though it's not a Ripper song, but we're going to do Judas Rising, because it actually segues from Scarified very well. I can hear how it would. Yeah, so I mean, instead of like doing like the little guitar solo part in Scarified, like in the middle, we're just going to do like the first like 15 seconds of it, and then that drum intro, basically right into Judas Rising. What we normally did, because we wanted to throw out a couple cover tunes, just to keep the metal fans interested. We're playing live. We're throwing originals at them, but we want to, people still like cover tunes, so we do Rising Force from Yngwie, and then we do Scarified into Painkiller. But Painkiller won't really transcend the recording as well as Judas Rising would, and the reason being is like the original recording of Painkiller is phenomenally produced, but the original recording of Judas Rising sucks, and it's too messy sounding. And when we were in Judas Sabbath, with James Rivera, we did that song and it was really tight, and we heard it live one time. We got a really good mix from it, and was like, wow, this sounds like better. No disrespect to Judas Priest, but that album production wise, it almost sounded like it was too loud. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it just sounds like everything was just cranked up. You know what I mean? They kind of announced that Rob Halford was coming back. 2 months later, the Angel of Retribution album was released. It seemed like it kind of seemed like they might have cut a few corners on it. Maybe didn't produce it as well as it needed to produce it. I had that same thought. Yeah. And I love the album. Don't get me wrong. Because Judas Rising is my favorite Priest song of all time. That's my absolute favorite. I think Touch of Evil. Is my favorite Priest song. Another great tune. Absolutely great song.
Hey, Will.
Yeah.
We got 8 minutes left on the regular show right now. Xander, if you want to keep going on, we can keep it going on for as long as you want to.
I actually have to get going because I have to get up tomorrow and go mingle with clients and stuff. So I have to. Your manager told me that you had an IT business, and he was saying that you didn't during the week. I had to pack it in early, and I was thinking, it's like, well, what difference does it make? He's in California. I don't know where the hell I know. I don't know where the hell I got Los Angeles from, but no, it's kind of funny. I got a great compliment from a guy that came to see us on Friday in Pittsburgh when we played with Primal Fear. I was just packing up my gear, and this guy just grabbed me. This guy was like 6 inches taller than me. He's like, dude, why in the fuck are you in Pittsburgh? Why aren't you in LA? And I said, because I live here. He's like, dude, pack your shit and move tonight. It was so funny. He was like so cool about it. It was a nice compliment. It was like, got a business, got a life here, and all that stuff, and business pays for the guitars, and what are you gonna do?
That's right. Exactly. Man, I'll tell you what. I wish you'd have called in earlier, man, because you're wide open, man. So this is one of the best interviews I think we've had right here, and you're awesome, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we normally have people call in, at 10:30, but your manager, this is nothing against him, but he was saying that you usually do 30, 45 minutes. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm calling at 11, and then we'll see what happens. So, but if we had just done the show normally, we probably would have been able to fill up 90 minutes easily. Oh, we could go 45 minutes talking about Judas Priest and Racer X.
That's right.
Yeah, actually, I had it in here at 10:30, and then I remember he at the time switched to 11. Normally I'm good for anywhere from like a half hour to an hour. Because my thing is I actually do have a client in California, so sometimes I'm on their time clock. And sometimes I'll have to work in between. That's why I try to keep, if I do interviews, I just try to keep them within a certain time because something always pops up with clients. They're like, oh, hey, look, this broke. I know it's 5 in the morning, out there in Pittsburgh. Like, can you fix this now? So it's one of those things, Hey, well, let's definitely stay in touch. I'd like to review your album for you. And
before we pack it in, I just got one question for you. We mentioned earlier that the majority of our guests have been from either Pennsylvania or Florida. In fact, next week our guest is also from Pennsylvania. I can't remember if they said Philly or Pittsburgh, but they're called they're an 80s metal band. They're called Scarlet Gypsy. Do you know those guys?
No, I don't think they're from Pittsburgh. I mean, because if they were that type of band, I probably would know them. Okay, it must be Philly then. Yeah. But yeah, they're our next. So 2 weeks in a row, we've got Pennsylvania on the show. We've had a guy named Chris Sestrick. He's from he grew up in Pittsburgh. Except he's from Los Angeles. He's in Los Angeles now. Cool. We had this band of kids called Never Fire. And, we had them on kind of like a watching their progress type of thing. They're from Pittsburgh. It's like Pittsburgh and Florida. That's where most of our guests are coming from. Seems like. Which is kind of funny because I'm actually from Florida, so it's kind of coincidental.
Oh, really? Where are you at from Florida?
I'm actually from the Clearwater, Tampa area. Oh, okay, West Coast.
Okay, we're from Cocoa Beach.
That explains your musical influences. Coming from the West Coast scene. So you probably know Todd LaTorre from Queensrÿche. I do know Todd, yeah. Todd's a good guy. I mean, I'm very proud of him that he's in Queensrÿche. I think it's great. I grew up with a couple of the guys from Sabotage. They're another
one of my favorite bands right there.
Yeah, I mean they're awesome, man. I mean everything Sabotage from '83 onward is just amazing. You
remember Stranger and?
Yeah, Stranger is
exactly.
a really cool band.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, a few months from now, we're gonna have to bring you back at some point.
Sure. No, I'd love to because it's rare.
Question: How long were you down in Florida?
Musical taste,
Do you remember a band called Dead Serious?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, they were East Coast.
That was more East Coast, but anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Great band from Florida, and they almost had a record deal and got kind of undercut right there by Green Jelly.
Oh yeah, I remember those guys.
Yeah, they won. It was like one year, Stranger won the Jammy Awards Entertainer of the Year, and then the following year, Dead Serious won it. So I mean they were like as big as it got back in the late '80s, early '90s. As big as you could possibly get without a record deal, type of thing. But.
Yeah, Stranger was pretty cool. They were a cool band.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool band.
Yeah, I liked them a lot. I liked a lot of their tunes were great. There was a bunch of great bands, from around that area. I mean, but again, I think a lot of them just had late timing, and they didn't. It's a shame because all of Florida's music scenes, whether it was Tampa, Orlando, or anywhere in the East Coast, they just never got to be exposed as much as they should have been.
You're right.
That was a crime because there's a lot of talent down there.
Oh yeah, I mean Matchbox 20 came from Orlando.
Yep, they're from Orlando. Right.
A lot of bands came out of there. Bobby Dahl for Poison was from down there. Also, you had what was the band that did the Late Tonight? That was in the early 2000s.
Saigon Kick.
Saigon Kick came from Florida. There's a bunch of bands that come out of Florida.
Yeah, I actually knew Jason Bueller for a little bit. He's got.
That's one of the greatest shows I ever went to right there with Saigon Kick and Aerosmith, and it was at a little college amphitheater. It was unbelievable.
Well,
they're awesome.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's tell people where they can get your music, where they can purchase it.
If you just search for XTB or Xander Demos, you'll find. Like our single Dancing Through Daggers, you'll find Guitarcadia available on Amazon and iTunes.
Okay.
Or if you want like hard copies, you can just go to my website, which is xanderdemos.com. Just go to the store, and normally if you go to the store through there, the CDs actually come directly from me. So like if somebody wants them signed, I mean I don't know if anybody cares about that, but if
no, absolutely, that's so much better.
Yeah,
if you buy it from Xander Demos, he gets all the money. If you buy it from his website, he gets the money, and Amazon doesn't get anything. So go ahead and go to XanderDemos.com and get the CD that way.
There you go. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on to the show. I had a blast. I mean, I didn't realize that I had that I was separated at birth from somebody. But,
actually, this is one of the coolest interviews we've done right here, and you are seriously like his twin. I'm telling you. I was like talking to him all night long. No, it is awesome, man. Love your music style. I love your guitar playing. You're phenomenal, man.
Thank you, guys. It was a blast talking to you guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, thank you. I'm definitely gonna stay in touch and everything, and get that album from you so we can get it reviewed and whatnot. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna play the other song that I have here. Is the Lady in Red, which is a guitar cover, and that's not really prog metal or speed metal or anything like that, but that's still.
Yeah, but I remember this song when I was in my teenage years and sitting with my girlfriend holding hands, listening to this song. Because she liked this, and when I liked Iron Maiden. But you know what? To be able to get a second bass, I listened to this song many, many times. But it's a really good song right here. And let's see how he shreds a guitar on it.
And so we're going to do that, and then we'll do our outro, and I'll have this show on YouTube probably sometime tomorrow.
Excellent.
Xander,
that's great.
Thank you so much for being on the show, man. We appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. You guys have a great night out there.
You too.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, this is Lady in Red by Xander Demos, and we will see you next week on the Will and Thunder Show.
Thank you for listening to the Will and Thunder Show. The band that's going to take us out is Beyond the Fade from Charlotte, North Carolina. You can find them at Beyond the Fade at Twitter and also at Facebook, Beyond the Fade. The song's called Lights Out, and they're going to take us out. Thank you for listening to the Will and Thunder Show. We'll be back next week, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern till midnight, with another awesome guest for you. Later. Basically.
What the hell is that?
I'm sorry.
Well.
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show. Will and Thunder Show. Ridiculous.
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show.
There's no side to that. There's no excuse for that.
Yep.
I just, I don't care.
Speaking of senseless killings, I'm going to segue again.
Yeah. Don't get me started on this crap.
But speaking of senseless killings, another segue to our next subject is what happened in California.
What happened in California? Let's agree to not use the guy's name because I don't want.
He doesn't deserve the publicity. No. I mean, and this guy, man, is senseless, man. Dude, join a dating site or something. Quit your whining and go find an ugly girl. I mean, what the really?
Well, the thing about it is this guy. Let's just call him Psycho Virgin.
Absolutely.
He was brought up in a culture that that thinks that there are no losers, everybody's a winner, everybody gets a trophy. He was brought up in that type of atmosphere, and that's what happens when you believe that everybody, that everybody's equal, everybody's a winner, everybody deserves a trophy, points don't matter, it's all about having fun. And that's what you get. That's what you get. You get these idiots that think that you can do whatever the hell you want to, and you're entitled to, to get laid by that hot chick. Well, you know what? I've never had sex with a college cheerleader. Have you?
Not that I know.
And we did okay. We did okay.
No, I mean, look, it's not so much, Look, I mean, it is what it is, and it's going to happen sooner or later, buddy. Give it some time.
Right. So this guy flies off the deep end because of the fact that he can't get laid by college cheerleaders, or sorority girls or whatever. So what? I mean, personally.
But you have to admit there has to be some deeper seated issues in this. This guy wasn't mentally right.
Well,
that's a lot of us guys don't get laid, and a lot of us guys are pissed off about not getting laid by college cheerleaders and sorority girls. We just don't fly off the deep end and go kill 7 people.
Well, you know what? When I was in my preteens, like 10, 11, 12, and starting to be interested in the physical aspect of girls and stuff like that. My mom, I can remember my mom telling me that that somewhere that the girls would at some point the girls would be all over me, or be that's not the word she used, but you know what I mean. But I didn't take that as a literal term, as saying, just because my mommy told me that it was true, that there's something wrong with the system here. Why can't I get the hot cheerleaders? I mean, I tell you what, Becca Tober. Do you remember her back in high school?
I do. Absolutely.
I was in love with that girl for so long. I was all about her, and and I'd talked to her. I'd even been over to her house hanging out a few times and everything. I was in the friend zone. And I finally worked up enough nerve to ask her out. And she actually said that she would go out with me. I was like, oh, yeah. I called up all my buddies. I got a date with Becca. And I can remember our friend Mike Dirks. He's like, man, congratulations. I'm happy for you, man. You've been all about her since, like, junior high school. And this was after we graduated and whatnot. And she stood me up. But did I go on a shooting? I was devastated. But did I go on a shooting?
Oh, yeah.
Spree? No, I didn't.
You see, I got to make out with a hot cheerleader from high school, and that I will never forget. So,
well,
I mean...
But the point that I was trying
to make... And I'm not going to drop any names, but... I know. I mean...
The point that I was trying to make with that is not so much that that we're... that the hot cheerleader, said stood me up or whatever, and I was devastated. That wasn't the point. You know what I've discovered?
The point is... What?
You know what I've discovered? Nerdy chicks are so much hotter than cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah, man. Dude, you get the chick with the glasses on that looks like the naughty librarian. What are you talking about? And the nerdy ones, you know what?
They're free.
They're so crazy. Exactly. I'm like, okay. Because they're looking for attention as much as you are. It's like, wait a minute here. You want me to do what?
Talk about the double standard here. Like, nerdy chicks are hot as hell, but the nerdy guys. Do you think the nerdy guys get the nerdy chicks? Nerdy guys don't get nerdy chicks.
Well, funny about talking about nerds. My wife and I were joking around the other day, and I have a son who's a bit of a nerd, which I'm very proud of him. He's very, very intelligent. He's not really a nerd. He's good in athletics, but he's very smart as well. And she said something joking around with him because he said something that is way above his age. You know what I mean? And it just popped out. And she's like, you're such a nerd. And I'm like, yeah, well, Bill Gates is a nerd, too, and that's the richest man in the freaking world. And she's like, hey, how do you think Bill Gates is a nerd? I said, have you ever seen the guy?
Yeah, right.
The guy is so smart. He invented, the whole idea of the computer, internet, and Windows. I mean, come on now. And she's like, well, okay. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, Kavan, which Kavan has the same name as our guest tonight. His middle name is Xander. And I'm like, Kavan, you know what? You keep being a nerd. I said, you make all that money and you can take care of Daddy when you're old, when I'm old.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that because Xander, you know what his day job is? He runs an IT service.
What? That's awesome, man. Making money.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about right there. But
Speaking of Xander, let's go ahead and take a break now. We went a little bit over, but in honor of the summer, summer's here. Our guest Xander Demos happens to have a version of a popular Don Henley song, "Boys of Summer." And there's been a couple other versions of that song thrown around, but this is his. And we'll be right back on the Will and Thunder Show, and this is Boys of Summer by Xander Demos.
I don't understand